Let's learn Phoenix and LiveView 1.7 in just one video. Come with me. A shopping cart is enough for you to learn 99% of every resources that you are gonna use with LiveView. This is the project that we are going to build. It's similar, 99% about page and components that you need to learn. I hope you enjoy. So this crash course is gonna be enough for you to build 99% of your LiveView pages. We're gonna be talking about the RLC pattern and focus on L letter. So basically the pattern is router, live, view, and context. And today our main focus will be the live view, which is the most important to this crash course. This is gonna be enough for you. When you learn this, what I'm gonna teach you, it's gonna be enough for you to build 99% of your LiveView pages. Router basically decides the request, the auth responsibility and plugs. The context, I'm not going to explain to you today because after you learn the PPC method, you're gonna feel confident to build anything with LiveView and understand everything that you have using LiveView and the life cycle. Most people explain first the life cycle, but if you understand the PPC method, the life cycle will be much more straightforward. After learning the PPC method, you're gonna feel confident to create your context schemas, because the LiveView is just a wrapper how you're going to expose your data. So after understanding the PPC, it's gonna be easier for you to understand the LiveView cycle, and you're gonna feel confident to use the handle params. You're gonna feel confident to use the handle info, which is one of the most important, and 90% of your time using the LiveView is gonna be the handle params. And how you organize it will be much more easier to build your LiveView page. So let's go ahead and start creating. So first of all, you have to create a LiveView page. So what I did basically, I just created a LiveView project, and after creating this project, I just executed the command mix set up to set up your project. And after that, you can execute mix phx server on. I created an alias called IMS. After running this command, you can go ahead to the localhost 4000 on your browser, and then our first step will be to create our LiveView page. How you can create a LiveView page? You can come over here to live crash course, and then you can just say live. We can say cart, and then cart live.index. After this, let me just make this more straightforward. You can come over here and say cart. As you can see, we don't have our page. What I'm gonna explain to you is gonna be enough. So you can come over here and say live, and then you can say cart live index.ex. What people usually teach you Elixir. Create your router. After creating your router, they will explain to you the life cycle, which is gonna be mount, and then render, handle, params, and render, and then you have your cycle. But what I explained to you is how to build simple page with LiveView and just use what you need. For example, right here, you're going to prepare our page. When you explain here that you have a live view, this is gonna be your page. we're not gonna build the mount because the mount, we're not gonna assign anything here. So we can just say render assigns, and after this assign, we can just explain our page. And one of the most important thing about the PPC method is we have created our page, as you can see, and what people will not explain to you is about the PPC method is high process, and then we could say something like self, and then link it to a list. So keep with this information in your mind because this is going to be very important. And what we're going to do is we're going to prepare an HTML. So what we can do is something like full. I already have the script. I'm gonna create a guest where you will have this div. So you will have this on this video, no worries. And let me just format. So this is our shopping cart. Everything that you need when you are creating your Liveview page, this is enough to build anything that you need. So now, because we have our Liveview page, what we are gonna do now is start creating our page. And one of the most important things that I would like to explain to you is the handle params. You're not gonna use the mount here because we're not handling with the full informations. So we can say handle params. So right here, we're gonna say params. We're not gonna use the URI. And then what we're gonna say is name params. If we have the name, it's okay. Or we're gonna say guest. When we have it, let's just change here to name. And this is going to be enough for us. So now we have the name. How you can use handle params? You can use the handle params to first handling with page properties such as pagination when you have a lot of data. You can use, for example, to sort your page. So for example, that you have a lot of products, and when you want to sort by name, you can just use that as well. So it's very useful. When you need to handle with page section, it's very useful as well. In this case, we can say name, you can say your name here, and then you got like this, or my name, and this is enough about the handle params. And one of the important things that we need to talk, it's about, this is very straightforward to use, which is how about we have our shopping cart and we need to count the total items. So what we're gonna do is total items 0. In this case, because we're not gonna use on our handle params, we wanna decide this. When we mount the page, we could say total items will be 0 here. And now to use, we can just say shopping cart total items. We can say total items. As you can see, it's 0. But what about if we want to give more responsibility to our buttons? So what we can do is just saying phx click, and then we can say add. Then we have a handle event, so it's going to blow up when we click. So when we click, it's saying that the Liveview will help us to create. So the handle event does not exist, where the event is the add. So what we're gonna do is handle event add, and then we're gonna say no reply. We are not going to use the assign. This is very important. When you are creating your Liveview applications, you can use the assign or you can use the update. What is the difference between them? The update, you can get the current state of params or an attribute that we have on our page. When you use the assign, you can just replace. So now total items will be, you can just create a function or you can use this way. And now we can create an account. We can just now replicate it through our products. And all of them are working, which is fantastic. Do you want to learn a little bit more? So let's go ahead now. Because you learned the page, this is all the responsibility of our Liveview page. But when I explained to you the PPC method, we saw our page. Now we're gonna see some powerful things about the Liveview, and we're gonna use the components. But before using the components, let's just rewrite this app. So I'm gonna get rid of this. And one of the most powerful things that we can do is just like for, where we have the name, it's gonna be our product's name, and then we can say 1, 2, 3, and then let's change here to something like name. And now we make our HTML much more simpler. And as you can see, we have the same effect. So what do you saw here? We saw the page. And when we are talking about the page, what people usually do is focus on creating Liveview pages. But what I'm going to explain to you on this course is that you can do more. And you can create components, and when you're creating components, we can give more responsibility to components and display the responsibility on your Liveview page. So what we can do now, you saw how to use a for to build your applications, but now let's go ahead and split it to a component. So we can say product item.ex. Def module, this is going to be a component where we can say use live component, and then render, which is the same, and then you can just come over here and copy this guy here to displays. We are not going to use the for right here, but we are going to say that this is going to be our ID. You will understand later. And now we can just copy this module name here, displays. Then live component, where our module will be product item, but our ID, you can say ID, it's fine, where we are gonna use our for right here, saying ID will be 1, 2, 3. And then, as you can see, our Liveview pages are different. And as you can see, it is working perfectly. What I mentioned to you, as you can see, it's only the HTML. But what about if you want to give the responsibility to our component. What we're gonna do now is giving the responsibility to this handle event. It's working because we have our component, and our component is sending the event. We are saying that the add event is in our Liveview page. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna give the responsibility to our component, and what we're gonna do is just copy this guy here to right here, and then you can say phx target at myself. If I not add this guy, the events that you saw here, it's going to blow up as well. But what we're gonna do is we need to send to our total items. So, but before we create this event, we're gonna have the same one, but we're gonna say amount here, and we can use the update assigns socket. This is the first life cycle when you are creating our live components. And then what we're gonna do is socket, but on our socket, this is one of the tips that I'm gonna give to you. Always assign the assigns, and always send the information that you're gonna need from the page. Now we can say assign amount 0, and right here we are going to create a span where we have the amount right here. Assign. Oh, forgot to update our socket. And as you can see, when we click, the responsibility is to component. What I'm gonna teach to you now, you learn how to split the responsibility to a component, which is very important. You can see a lot of Elixir courses, and they are not gonna teach you what I'm teaching you, because I'm teaching you the PPC method. So you learn about the page and you learn about the component. How about the process? So you are seeing the process here, but you didn't understand probably why we are using this information. So what we are gonna do is, let's create a function called handle info, where we're gonna say the message will be add, and right here we are going to have a no reply, update total item. What I'm teaching about the process is we learn about the page, component, and the process. What's happening is that we got this process ID, and whatever, if you have distributed applications, for example, and you have this process ID and the node connection, you can access this page and send the information. If you create a list of process and send information to this one, for example, this is gonna work. So now we got the process, we can say PID will be this guy. Now when we say send to a PID add, in a real time, as you can see, we are updating our information. One of the most important thing about the PID is, and other courses will not teach you, is that the PID and the page are just in component. Components are just a map. Gus, explain this a little bit more for me. Yeah, state, PID. I'm gonna say state. When you see state, you will see a lot of information of the component state. As you can see, a page is a map, and components are maps too. As you can see, the amount in all of them are 0. So the product item number 1 is the amount is 0. The product item number 2 is 0, 2, So when I say here something like this, and after that, get the process ID, get the state, as you can see on our page, you will see that the component number 1, the amount is 5, which is fantastic. Now, when we want to create the same event to our page, you can just get this information here and send to the parent. In our case, in our product item, what we are going to do is this way, but we can say change it to self, because the page we already have it on our component. Now when we say something like this, you have the component communication with the process. We have the process, and process have the page, and page have components, and components are creating a communication with the parent, and this can happen with the page as well.